My parents arrived from South Africa 5 years ago to live here in Melbourne with us. We had a unit for them, but we had to find contents to fill that unit because they decided not to bring any of their goods or any of their furniture from South Africa. Once friends at church and also in the community heard about us filling this unit, we got so many offers of a washing machine, a fridge, leather lounge suite, dining room suite with 6 chairs, and a matching display unit. Beautiful plasma TV, the best TV my parents have ever had, the biggest. Amazing provision from God. It really was from God. I was standing on Ephesians 3:20 at this point. I was seeing what God was unfolding and I was very excited about it. I was believing that God could do immeasurably more than I could ask or even imagine. So when I was putting a list together what was still left to fill the unit, the Lord said to me, He just prompted me. I didn't hear the audible voice of God. He just prompted me and said, a car. And that was a big thing for me because I suppose I doubted God in the beginning, but it took 2 weeks for me to really confidently believe that He could do it. So the next time someone asked me what we needed, I took a deep breath and I boldly said, a car, dustbin, vacuum cleaner, etc. Well, I was telling this one friend of mine from church who was leaving to go back overseas, and she said to me, oh, Veronica, I'm so sorry, we can't give you one of our cars. Anyway, later that day, I got a phone call from my friend and she said, Veronica, are you sitting down? We have decided to give your parents one of our cars. Well, I was so excited. I wasn't surprised because God had told me He would provide a car for my parents. But I was just so excited and really blown away at the generosity of God. This is the best car my parents have had. I learned not to limit God, not to underestimate Him, but to be stretched by Him, and my faith was stretched and my imagination.
I was diagnosed with motor neuron disease, which is considered terminal. There's no cure. It's just a slow decline, and the speed at which sufferers decline varies from 1 year to 3 years on average. So 6 years has been a blessing in itself. But what God has also done, that He has given me a focus for what He wants me to use my gifts for. I'm a writer, so I'm now writing more than I ever did, particularly in the field of ministering in a very sectarian way, if you like, to people of various ages and persuasions. God has done immeasurably more for me simply by ensuring that I have survived 6 years instead of 1 to 3 years. I've also known that His hand is on the work I do, and He has directed what He wants from me in a way that is totally clear to me now, and it wasn't ever before.
About 18 months ago, I found myself out of work, and it really threw me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt really, really drained, and I really honestly felt like I just had no idea what I was going to do next. What I decided to do is that I would volunteer at church, and Robin Hutchins took me under her wing and just introduced me to the staff, and I just, day by day, week by week, just became more and more comfortable being there and around people, and I felt really safe and just restoring my self-confidence. Eventually, I did apply for a role that was in a Christian organisation. After the interview, they found the right seat on the bus for me, and I just can bring all of myself to this role, including my faith, and I just feel very restored and very, very blessed. So I think I just positioned myself. I decided to position myself in a place where God could reach me, touch me, bless me, use me, and restore me.
Steph's story started probably about 9 months before she was born. I'd had a number of miscarriages, and it took us about 8 years to have Matt, so we were fairly desperate for another child. And I got pregnant and had a very large bleed, and went and had an ultrasound, and there was nothing there. We happened to have a meeting with a reverend Lawrence Turnbull, who ran the healing ministry at St Paul's Cathedral. He saw I was obviously a little upset, and I was actually really angry. And he stopped the meeting and said, you're obvious, I can see that you're upset. And I said, oh, yeah, basically had a bad day. And he said, can I pray for you? And he ended up pulling out from his pocket oil and anointing me with oil and praying for me. And the person that left the house that night was a different person that came home. And we look back and know that Steph was prayed for, and anointed from, before we even knew she was there. Our daughter was at a week old, got whooping cough, and it attacked her lungs, but also her brain. She got a thing called pertussis encephalopathy, and it attacked her brain. For many months, she couldn't see or hear. We were told that she would never see or hear or walk or talk. We just had an amazing amount of people praying for us. God just touched her and healed our daughter.
People praying before she was even born. We thought that we would never even have Stephanie, and praying before she was born. When she got sick, we had amazing people from all around the world. We had people from Bayside Church praying for our little girl that she would be healed, and to this day the doctors still say she's an amazing miracle. They don't know how it happened. We do. We're just thankful to God that He's done immeasurably more than we could ever ask or imagine or pray or think in the life of us and our little daughter Stephanie.